Am I the jerk for hiding my boyfriend's anime body pillow while my parents were visiting? My boyfriend, who is 32, and I, a 27-year-old woman, have been together for a year. He's only met my parents once over the holidays last year because they live pretty far away. They've been visiting this past week, and since he and I just moved in together, they were excited to see our new place and get to know my boyfriend a little more. We have an extra bedroom, and this has become my boyfriend's gaming room for the most part. But we agreed when guests come over, it would become a second bedroom. He really likes video games, and anime in particular, so he has a lot of toys and artwork that he's collected over the years from different games and such. One thing he has is this anime body pillow that features a sexy anime girl on it. He also has a mousepad for his gaming computer that resembles a busty anime girl. Before my parents came over, I asked him to take down his toys and stuff so they could be comfortable. I was upset to see that he left the body pillow and the mousepad in place. I don't really feel comfortable with either item, but he's really into anime, so I've always kind of left it alone. But I absolutely didn't think it was appropriate to leave it in there when my parents would be staying over. I took the cover off the body pillow and put the pillow in the closet, and I put the mousepad in a drawer in our room. When my parents arrived and we showed them to their room, my boyfriend noticed the missing pillow and mousepad. Later, when we were in bed, he brought it up to me and asked me why I hid them. I told him I didn't think my parents would feel comfortable with those things in the bedroom, and when they leave, we can put them back. He then got really upset. He told me that he feels like I'm ashamed of his interest in anime. He said he spent his whole life feeling like people think he's weird for being into anime, and he didn't expect his own girlfriend to be, quotes, just like everyone else. The next day, I noticed him taking some of his manga books off our bookshelf and putting them into a box. I asked him why, and he said something like, "I'm putting them away so you don't have to look at them anymore." I feel really bad. I feel like I hurt him, but I just really didn't think my parents would feel comfortable sleeping in a room with those items. But now he's just acting so distant and cold, and he's not really engaging with my parents at all. They keep asking me what's wrong, and I don't know what to say. So, am I the jerk? Okay, before we get into the update here, let's jump into the top comment on that original post. Somebody said, "There's a huge difference between anime and video game decorations and sexualized anime content. A busty mousepad and a sexy body pillow would most definitely make anyone feel uncomfortable. I get that it's his space too, but I think a small amount of compromise for a limited time isn't a problem at all. He might see it as you being embarrassed of his interests, but the reality is most people aren't comfortable with sexualized decor. It's not about anime at all. You're not the jerk here. He really needs to have more consideration for others." And the original poster replied saying, "That's exactly my feelings too. There's other stuff in the room that's anime and gaming related that was left up, but it was more the sexual stuff that I didn't feel comfortable leaving out for my parents." Okay, let's get straight into the update for this one. Thank you for all the responses, and sorry it took me a few days to update. I was waiting for my parents to leave so I could talk to my boyfriend about all of this. I read through the comments, and it kind of validated something I already was feeling. Sexual decor aside, the way he acted the next day when he was putting the books away really bothered me. I ended up explaining the situation to my parents, and they weren't exactly thrilled by his reaction either. I got the feeling after this trip that they don't really approve of him, which is neither here nor there. I'm 27 and I'm old enough to make my own choices, but above everything else, my parents mean a lot to me. I never get to see them, and it was important to me that my boyfriend would present and treat them well while they were here. After they left, I drove them to the airport. My boyfriend refused to come. I came back from the airport and found a couple of trash bags outside the door. Well, it turns out that once I left, my boyfriend started throwing all of his anime things into these bags. I asked why, and he said something along the same lines as before, that clearly his interests weren't welcome in my home, and he'd keep them in his car until he figured out what to do with them. Goodness me, what an overreaction from this guy. I kinda snapped. I've been keeping it together all week for my parents, but I had enough at this point. I told him I never asked him to get rid of his anime stuff, just that it wasn't appropriate for my parents while they were staying with us. I told him this reaction is unfair and he's being manipulative. I told him that this week was supposed to be about him getting to know my parents, but he was too fixated on this anime issue to even spend any real time with them. He then called me manipulative for making him believe that I was cool with his love for anime for the past year, when I was clearly ashamed of it. He also said he didn't want to be a part of a family that doesn't appreciate anime. We went back and forth for a while, and then I told him we needed space. I wasn't even really planning that, but it came out and it felt like the right thing for me. Well, he then started crying a lot and apologizing, and immediately tried to take back what he said, but I was just done at this point. He left eventually, and now I'm here in this apartment alone. Well, and the mouse pad and body pillow. He left those behind. Anyway, I don't really know if we're broken up officially or what, but it seems to be heading that way. I'm just feeling awful, and I almost wish this all happened before my parents visited, because I feel like it tainted the whole trip. But yeah, thanks for the replies, guys, and for helping me open my eyes a bit. Yeah, I completely agree with every comment that's happened so far. Obviously, you're not the jerk here at all, OP. And if this guy cannot understand the difference between, you know, having a nice passion for anime, having a few collectibles, etc., which is obviously completely fine, a passion shared by, who knows, maybe even billions of people, but yeah, definitely millions and millions of people in the world, and then having sort of, you know, clearly sexual stuff that yeah, it's anime related, fine, but it's still sexual stuff, then that is just weird, and that just shows that he just has no concept of reality, I suppose, and yeah, the fact that he cannot understand the difference between those two things is extremely concerning, not just right now in the short term, but going forward. I would definitely break up with this guy. I don't even think I need much more context than this story alone. If my partner didn't realize the difference between anime and then having like a massive anime sex doll, and me not wanting that to be in the, well, I mean, it's not a sex doll, but you know what I mean, me not wanting that to be in the same room my parents are going to sleep in, I'd probably be like, okay, well, you're just a bit stupid then, aren't you? Sorry. I actually do agree with some of the comments. Like, it is just a bit weird having a sexy anime body pillow and then like a busty anime girl mouse pad anyway. I feel like that is just a bit weird. I'm all for having like models, anime models, in terms of, you know, just like characters that you like, or yeah, you know, like Overwatch, for example. That's a game that I used to really enjoy. A lot of people have sort of figures from that game, Legos, etc., whatever it is, that sort of stuff. But yeah, just the sexual stuff anyway, when you have a girlfriend living with you, I do think it's a bit dodgy. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I think it's just weird. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one down below. Do you think OP should just ride this one out and come to an agreement in the short term with her boyfriend? Or do you think it's more of a bigger issue here? Because I definitely do. Okay, now moving on to our next story. My ex-girlfriend opened up 2 credit cards in my name after we broke up. She ran up about $7,500 in debt, mainly shopping at Nordstrom and Macy's. Her current boyfriend is now threatening me. My ex and I broke up a little more than a year ago. We lived together for a couple of years, and I know she would have had access to my financial information. When we broke up, I moved out of the house we were renting, and I thought I had everything of mine. Back in February, when I was doing my taxes, I realized I couldn't find my folder with my previous year's tax returns anywhere. I assumed it got lost in the move, and I didn't think anything else of it. Last Friday, I got served for a lawsuit to the tune of over $5,000 for a defaulted credit card. When I went and actually pulled my credit, I saw that card had been defaulted since May, and there was another one which had been closed since June for about $2,500. Seeing as I had no knowledge of this, I immediately disputed both of the accounts on all 3 bureaus' websites. I was able to talk with someone for one of the cards, and they said it was opened in January, well after I had moved out of my old house, and the cards were sent there. I received the statements from the one card, and it was probably 80% Nordstrom, Macy's, 2 of the stores that my ex loved shopping at. I'm pretty sure that she was the one who opened the accounts, probably used my social security number from the old tax returns. I called my ex about it, and she denied everything, even when I told her that eventually, if she had anything shipped to the house using a stolen credit card, she's going to get found out. She flipped and started screaming at me, saying I can't seriously accuse her of anything and to never talk to her again. About 20 minutes later, I get a call from a blocked number. That was her boyfriend, threatening to make my life a living hell unless I stopped harassing her by claiming that she stole my identity. He hung up, but I was shaken up about it. I can see that he's got some serious felonies just by looking at the public records on the county website. Oh my goodness. I'm kind of stuck here. I'm opening myself up to retaliation if I go forward with anything from someone who has charges of aggravated arson and aggravated discharge of a firearm in addition to a few battery charges. I can't just not do anything though. So any advice would be greatly appreciated. And let's jump straight to that right now, because this is a tough situation, but this is what one commenter said. I'm copying this for every identity theft situation that I see on Reddit, since it seems to happen a lot, where you know who the person is who stole your identity. This is all information you can find in this sub and others. This was actually originally posted on the subreddit r/credit score. Firstly, call the police. You are the victim of identity theft, plain and simple. It doesn't matter who did it or what your relationship is to them. They broke the law, now they have to face the consequences of their actions. Secondly, freeze your credit. Obviously, you want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Take the proactive route of freezing your credit. Third, monitor and track your credit. You need to be alerted if anyone tries opening a line of credit in your name, and you can actually do that for free. Okay, interesting. 4, warn anyone else who might be a victim. Yeah, sensible. Including family members or anyone else whose social security number might be compromised by that thief. 5, take the police report to the credit bureaus. Give them the report number when you dispute all of the accounts. Most of the time, that will be enough for them to take the accounts off of your credit. It's on the creditors themselves to prove the accounts are legitimately yours, and the bureaus aren't going to get in the middle of it. A police report goes a long way in clearing up your credit. Don't take identity theft lying down, even if it's someone close to you. If you let them get away with it, get ready for 5 to 10 years of bad credit, collection agencies coming after you, lawsuits, and more. For this specific case, you need to go to the police like now. This guy seems like an incredibly violent person. I would get a restraining order as soon as possible. Does he know where you live? I also wouldn't contact your ex at all about anything else. Let it all go through the court system. And the original poster replied to this saying, I plan on calling the police. I was just kind of freaked out about the whole situation. How do I get the police report to the credit companies? Someone else said, file a police report for the fraud. Contact the lenders and provide the police report number and jurisdiction. Let the police and the bank sort it out. Provide all that info to the lawyers that filed the suit and bring it all to court. Do not skip a court date. So, there we go. That is the original post and some great advice down below. I have to agree with OP though. Like it's one thing being in this situation, knowing this is happening to you and knowing you have to go to the police. But when you're getting physically threatened by someone that you know has gone to jail for physical assault before, that is a lot more scary, to be honest. So I understand the concern. Anyway, let's get into the update. This was posted just a week ago at the time of recording, 1 month after the original. So I followed the advice in the comments and I went to the police. Quick and painless process. I was in and out in maybe 30 minutes with a report number. I never received another call from my ex or her boyfriend. I gave the report number to the credit card companies and the credit bureaus. I was told I didn't have to do anything else at that point, but to show up to the court date for the lawsuit. I learned through a mutual friend today that my ex was arrested this morning. Apparently, the county put out a warrant for her last week, pulled her over on the way to work. It looks like she was charged and released pretty quickly. Also, I learned my ex and the boyfriend who threatened me are no longer together. I don't think I have to worry about him anymore. The court date for the lawsuit is later this month, but everything has already fallen off my report. My score has gone up probably 200 points. I'm still going to the court date just to make sure everything is good, but it's looking like all good news from here on out. Well, that OP is amazing to hear. Somebody said down below, that is awesome news. Your story will also serve as inspiration for others to pursue justice when they've been wronged. And somebody finally offered one more piece of advice. Make sure you put a freeze on your SSN with all 3 credit bureaus if you haven't done so already. Goodness me. I mean, so many things to do in this situation, clearly, and things you're going to have to continue to do, OP, but it's good to hear that, yeah, maybe this story is coming to an end. God, honestly, reading through that story, just the amount of things that the OP has to do here was just genuinely giving me anxiety. If that sort of thing happened to you and you knew it was affecting your life so much, and there were so many different things that you had to do, I mean, even reading through that list of things that you must do immediately from the first commenter on the original post, and then having in the back of your mind the fact that you've got a horrible boyfriend to your ex out there who is extremely physical and has been to prison who's saying don't do any of it or you're going to be in massive trouble. Yeah, terrible situation to be in. As I said, I'm just very happy that this is getting a lot better for you now, and hopefully you're at the end of this terrible journey. Crazy situation that someone would just do this. I don't know, how long will this person go to prison for? Will they go to prison at all? Obviously they've been released, but I presume there's going to be like a proper court date, and yeah, she is going to be charged, but I don't know. This sort of thing is just crazy. It can ruin lives. We know this, right? Identity theft is not a joke. If you get that reference, respect. Should probably have added Jim on, but if you guys know, you know.
Michael! Oh, that's funny. Michael!
Now, one thing I will say, just to end this, is that I think IP's not going to want to hear this, but I personally would still be a little bit concerned about your ex's boyfriend or your ex's ex now, because he just seems like a completely cooked individual. He seems unstable. I don't know. I don't know how you protect yourself from that individual, but I guess just when you're going through this whole process, keep mentioning him to the police, because threatening somebody like he's done with his history, I'm sure is not allowed either. So yeah, just make sure you're covered from that and get all the help you can from the authorities. Good luck is all I can say. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed this. If you did and you want more from me right away, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following my channel on whatever platform you're on. That's the best way to keep up to date with my content. If you're new to the channel, then check out this episode on screen. Similar to this one, I think you're going to love it. Also, let me know down below, if you're on YouTube, what you think about the new thumbnails. I'm trying something different. I'm trying to just go straight into the stories as well. It's a new tactic that I'm thinking of trying. So just let me know. I'm experimenting, but I want to hear from you guys what you think, as always, because of course you are the most important people when it comes to the future of this channel. So yeah, let me know down below, and I'll catch you on the next one.